A few years ago, I started exploring this idea of the unbroken path, and this is the outline to it. This is kind of the outline that I see being used to create whatever art I create over the next few years, or maybe the rest of my life. Who knows? But it's how I wrote How to Survive an Estrellarian Mind Meld, sort of. Let me try to explain it to you. Each one of these cards running down is a row of a philosophical or religious tradition paradigm in some way, shape, or form. And this is kind of the way that they interweave to create the journey of becoming who we fully are and realizing ourselves as a human being and as an ego in this world, however we might see the world. Now this is only, I think, 14 of them right now, but there are obviously more that can be filled in, because you see I have some empty spaces here. So obviously there's other schools of thought that can be woven in here, and I'm open to them. But this is kind of the crux of I see it. Now, the first one I laid down, because it's the one that I had, was right here, the Fool's Journey. Because all of this is a fool's journey. However much we think we might know about the world around us and how everything actually works, we're all fools, because these cards can be just blown right off the table. Reshuffled and reorganized and turned into something else. So we're all fools if we think any of this really makes a huge difference, but ultimately it does, because we get to make a difference in our lives, which affect a lot of other lives. But on this fool's journey we're on, the first person we meet is the magician and the high priestess and the empress and the emperor, and the hierophant, the lovers, the chariot, strength, hermit, wheel of fortune, justice, hangman, death, temperance, devil, tower, star, moon, sun, judgment, and the world. So that's your basis. And then I line that up with these states of consciousness, stages of consciousness, that David Hawkins talks about in the Power versus Force and his other books, like Eye of the Eye and I. And basically these are based on kinesiology and the energy that runs in our bodies whenever we have certain thoughts or ideas, or emotions affect our mind, and mind affect emotions and body and all that. Anyway, so we started out with this foolish spot, and I might as well go along here and show you how it works together. Because this is the starting, all life is suffering, of the Buddhist Four Noble Truths, which continue on that way. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, kind of goes in with this, the shame that we're dealing with and the suffering, and we're not what God wanted us to be. This is the Romans road that the evangelical Christianity has embraced. That's Paul's version of how we need to be saved. This is the first day of light, is the creation story. It goes that way. This is the longer now. This is the beginning of the insights of the Celestine prophecy, which go up that way. The ordinary world, this is where the hero's journey starts, followed by the call to adventure, refusal of the call, and on through Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, the monomyth. And then if we go over to this side, as we progress on at this side, Alcoholics Anonymous says, we have to admit we have a problem. Now you may, because there have been many anonymous programs, it doesn't have to be alcohol for you to have a problem, or admit you have a problem. We're addicted to money, we're addicted to oil, we're addicted to all kinds of things right now as a society, and as an individual. I have a problem with all kinds of stuff, foolish things that I do, and shame that I feel, and all that. And I'm sure we all do. So we got to kind of start on that path of the steps we're going to take, just believing that something we do is going to make us recognize the fullness of our life and what we're meant here to do. So, and this is also the needs that we have. Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs. I did try to balance this out, because I wanted psychology and spirituality and different traditions on each side. So I have Maslow's needs over here, and then on this side, starting with autonomy. Starting with trust versus mistrust, as we head out into this first day and look into the world and are called to adventure, to face whatever we need to face to desire a better life. This is Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial growth, and then so to meet those needs, we also have Stephen Covey's Begin with the End in Mind, Be Proactive. Those are the, of course, beginning of the actual 8 effective habits, because it started out as 7 effective habits of highly effective people, and then he added an 8th habit, so that's in here too. And then these are the 8 Beatitudes of Jesus Christ that he spoke on the Sermon on the Mount, and it sort of mentions in a couple of the other Gospels, partly. But anyway, I got the happy 8 here. And then, of course, we got our 7 chakras that are lined up here as well, and what they represent all the way up to the top root chakra. And then these are the 5 agreements, because there were 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and his son came along and added a 5th one. That's basically, the 5th one, if you don't know, is be skeptical but learn to listen. So any of these paths that you look down, you should totally be skeptical, because we know that following a lot of these ideas, I'm looking at you, Romans Road, that a lot of these ideas have really gotten us off course in a lot of ways, because we started putting the cart before the horse, so to speak. Like, you know, if I were to say this with the Bible, I could put out the whole book of the Bible here, and it's just one of those things it's an idea, but it has to get us to where we're living the lives that we want. Because as you move up this, I mean, let's just look at the stages of consciousness we're looking at. As we go from this point of shame, of recognizing how all of these things began, that we're kind of screwed up and need to become something more. And so we start with our shame, and we work our way up to guilt, and then we kind of have apathy about what's going on around us, but we're called to adventure, to engage the life that we want. And we start to have desire about what that is, looking to a higher power to guide us. Even though we're faced with fear, we realize that it's a matter of our energy, and if we lose desire and just go the course, we can get over whatever anger we have with the world, get over our pride, find that point of courage, which happens to be like right there in the center with the hermit, because we're all alone in this. We all have to make this journey ourselves. Anyway, so courage is to have neutrality and recognize, you know what, however things turn out in the whole of things, I'm here in this moment, facing whatever I'm facing with my tests and my allies and my enemies, and I need to be willing to use some reason, use some common sense here, accept my life, love the fact that I get to be part of this whole journey, and it comes together so well, and accepting joy of being able to live this full and beautiful life, and then having peace with who you are by having that judgment, taking the road back, and having that enlightenment and fulfillment and self-transcendence and all of these wonderful things that make us all who we are. So, if I ever mention the Unbroken Path, and you want to know what I'm talking about, this is it. So I know it's complex, but I think it's beautiful. And I think it could make for some really engaging art in a lot of different means. And so currently I want to be doing that through the Will Rogers Wandering Soul Roadshow as a performance piece, and through the STEP video series, and through ABC Squared Economics, and a lot of other things that I want to create. And if you want to assist me with that and be a part of this, then I encourage you to do so. Buy my books, support me on Patreon, follow me on Facebook, sign up for my newsletter, whatever it is. But if you want to help me take this path and be part of this whole experience, please do. Thanks.